Hello Shiva, thanks for joining us. Welcome to Scouted by Graby, and I'm very happy to have you with us to talk about Beez Biotech.
Thanks, Shabas. Thank you for scouting us as a top 20 innovators. Very kind of you. And I'm very happy to be here and looking forward to share with you about Beez Biotech and about my journey as well. So, what we are doing in a Beez Biotech, if you see that Bees Biotech is aimed to increase the success rate of the medically assisted reproductions that we call MAR. Why it's needed it? Because if you see the infertility is growing global health concern. So approximately 1 in 6 people according to WHO, they're suffering with the infertility. And what we are doing in a Bees Biotech, we're trying to identify the fundamental reasons for the lower success rate in clinics, and one by one that from poor ovarian response to the standardizations of the lab and the selections of the quality reproductive cells, that Bees Biotech is focusing on that, and we're trying to provide the innovative solutions to solve these issues.
That sounds very exciting, Shiva. So actually, I also wanted to ask when I read about Bees Biotech, and I was really interested in the technology that is helping you increase this fertility rate. I've heard the industry standard is around 10-20% only, and Bees Biotech's promises that they are with your technology you are able to double the success rate of MAR and MAR type of treatment. So can you share a little bit about how Bees Biotech is able to do it and take us through a little bit into like how this technology works?
If you see that, as I mentioned, that there is a fundamental reasons. Basically, what we believe that there's a problem in when while during the treatment there is a problem with the poor ovarian response that comes due to the aging or lifestyles, and also sometimes with the endometriosis. There is again that the way that laboratory currently they are functioning. There is a problem with the standardizations, either with the diagnostic systems, or they are, for example, in semen analysis, they are not telling the fertilization capability of the cells, and lab to lab the protocol changes quite a lot, I would say. And coming to the one of the thing is called reproductive cell selection, where the currently the clinicians they are practicing the centrifugation based method, and that introducing the damaging cells, sperm cells basically. And research have proven that a damaged fragmented sperm cells can fertilize the oocyte, but it leads to the bad quality of the embryo. So these issues are there. So what we have done so far, we are small and we have a small team. So far we have developed the solution that is inspired from the one thing we'll call biomimetics, means that replicating the same process as it's happening in nature. So inspired from natural fertilization process, we have implemented a technology that called eva, and that technology select a very high quality sperm cells for the reproductive clinics. We already have proven that we surpass almost the comparing the current standards, that we are improving the quality metrics by 45%. That is setting kind of new benchmark if you see the current standards. And what we are trying to do with this, we are already validated technology in a real lab environment, and reaching the technology readiness level of the eva approximately 5 to 6 readiness level. So this is something we have achieved so far. This is as I said that it's going to there are some research have proven that if you using the fragmented cells, it increases the miscarriages chances by 13%, and that we are trying to mitigate with this technology. But more than that, we are working other projects as well, like for the standardizations of the laboratory, working on a semen sample diagnostics, and working on some aspect of the endometriosis to tackle these issues, to take up to the success rate approximately 50% by 2030.
Lots of new things are going on, and I'm really excited to hear that you're able to specifically the 45% that we are able to successfully.
Yeah, this is improvement that we have done from the current standard, the 45%. Normally, we are reaching in terms of the quality metrics, the cells that we are reaching is almost 100% motile, and not having the DNA fragmentation at all. So the cells that we are selecting. So it's from the current centrifugation compared to the current centrifugation based method is we are improving the quality metrics by 45%. and that is almost we are reaching to the 100% qualitative quality metrics.
I'm sure this must have, since this is a like big technological leap, both in terms of in market and business, and as well as I'm pretty sure your customers will also be, I mean, very happy about it. So can you share a little bit of, how has been the reaction of market in basically about Bees Biotech?
Yeah, so if you see that the market for the IVF, the I'm talking medical assisted reproductions is currently we are in 2025 is around 21 billion, let's say. And if we select the because the sperm selections is also a kind of sub market of the IVF market. There is a eco, I guess. So in that way, what we have been recorded from our end user, let's say there is a huge tractions that we have found for our technology, and now we have tested the technology here in 3 laboratories. If you see the market for the current market for sperm selections is around reaching to the sperm semen sample processing is reaching around 3 billion, growing with the very good compound annual growth rate. It's approximately 16%, if I'm not wrong, 12 to 16%, you can say. There are some market research they say 12%, some market research they 16%. So in that way, I think it's quite promising market, and we have a technology that have the disruptiveness, and also to it's a very it have the core value propositions where we are really testing now the further the technology to see that improving the clinical outcomes, I would say, because it's already setting the new benchmark for the biological validations. And now for our technology is further to test it further in clinical settings, where what we are promising we are delivering it or not. That's the next step. And to achieve to capture the market, because we receiving the good tractions from our end user, and we already have the latest LOI, letter of interest, that you from certain end users, and where we are trying to commercialize the technology by end of 2026. And the cost to commercialize the technology in Europe and US is approximately 3.75 million. This is the half of the cost that we are expecting to have it from the private funding, and the rest of the 50% of the cost we are going to have it from the public financing. So this is the something that we are targeting, and to work on the regulatories, to work on the to even strong our value propositions in term to providing the clinical outcomes, and that is something that we are working on.
Where is Bees Biotech in terms of regulations and approvals and these kind of policies that are there in medical industry?
So if you see particularly in a IVF domain, the medical assisted reproductive domain, let's say, normally disposable devices they are in a category 2A in let's say here in Europe. So there is a classification category. We need to work and we need to find a certification for the companies, certain ISO certifications for the companies. Also, we need to work in a certain ISO umbrella to have the CE mark for our device. In that regard, we already did some define our regulatory pathway. There's one of the consultant here, regulatory consultant here, is called MD101. We have define our regulatory pathway, that what will be the cost, what will be the timeline. So that's why I said that now I'm very sure, very clear in terms of that how much cost will be there and what will the timeline. That's why I already said that at the end of 2026 we will be in the market. So we already define our regulatory pathway, that what we have to do to achieve the commercializations of the our technology. And in that regard, yes, it's quite challenging, I would say. We already in a touch with the notified body as well to go further with the commercializations. But yes, it's requires significant funding. When I say that significant funding, I already quoted the 3.75 to reach the EU and US market. It's required significant funding to have the industrial productions, to prove the toxicity, repeatability of the technology that we have developed. We have to subcontracting these services from our partners, and that is something now we are working on to raise this amount to be in a market by the timeline that I have already.
Is Bees Biotech solution FDA approved as well?
So what I'm telling that we already define our regulatory pathway, but we need to implement our regulatory pathway. So defining the regulatory pathway is one step to because the regulatory pathway is having the certain essential elements like how many batches that you're going to produce, how many, let's say, how many samples that you require to achieve, to put in your technical dossier when you are going to file your technical dossier to notify body, let's say, and how many, let's say, tests that you need to produce the toxicity and repeatability results for the technical dossier. What will be the quality supremacy of the product that you're developing? So those things require the industrial productions, and we need to work under the ISO umbrella. So that is the something that that we need to achieve. We have defined the means that pathway definitions is one thing. We have defined, we have proposal to what we're going to do in next 2 year, and that end of 2026 we have to commercialize the technology. That's one thing. That, and we in this timeline we're going to implement our strategies to achieve the CE marking, and then later on FDA approval as well. So for FDA approval, yes, we have not started yet, but it will be a 510K for us, and as soon as we work on parallelly work on to achieve the CE certifications, we will start implementing the our regulatory pathway again for the to achieve the 510K certification for the our tech.
Do you see any challenge coming up in implementing this plan in next 2 3 years?
Development of any biotech startup or health tech startup, it's from scratch actually quite challenging, because this field requires so much cash flow. Always is very struggling to find that cash, even when you're starting from zero. Actually, what we had innovations, we had idea, and that where I started from. And yes, there's a huge challenges. Even let's say, for example, sometimes the client want some modifications in technologies or some modification to just to ease the protocol, and it's very difficult for the startup like us, even where the medias and any modifications are very costly. We know that even that how to implement it, how to do these changes in a, but we need sufficient funding to introduce those changes in a technology based on the user demand. The cost is one of the always is one of the issue for biotech and health tech startup, because it requires big funding to implement, I would say. So one is that, and second is also that when we are developing the technology, changing the also the mindset of the clients. And sometimes we need to we always prioritize the our end user demand. We try to be as close as possible to be prioritize user friendliness, that we call, and what feedback they are giving for our technologies and all that. So we always try to implement it, but as I mentioned again, it's cost is one of the issues. Now when we going for the commercial, achieving the TRL 5 or 6 is already a achievement for the technology, but after that when we going for the commercial license, it's a bigger challenge as well, where we need to go in industrial settings, where we need to produce a technology in industrial settings, and try to have those fundings, because then cash burn is quite high over there, and try to have those funding to bring the technology into the market. And that is something we are working on. Mentioning that, recently we are selected from one of the program, from the Hello Tomorrow. Hello Tomorrow, they have selected us one of the program called MedTech Bootcamp, where we are kind of engineering our fundraising. We are trying to strategize our the whole fundraising process, breaking it in seed and series A and all that, and then how to what will be the timeline to raise the fund, and what will be the timeline to bring the technology into the market, and everything that what we have done with the regulatory pathway, we are trying to validate it and building the big network to meet the investors, and to talk about the commercializations of the technology.
Who is your target audience you are trying to target?
Actually, if you see that, I said that our technology is based on the biomimetics. Yes, if we can modify the technology a bit and tweak the technology a bit, we have the supplementary market, like in animal husbandries, we can go to the veterinary market as well. But to me, I have never started to implementing this solution in that sense. That is the one supplementary market that we have. But I really want to make the Beez Biotech the human centric, and because it's a huge challenge over there, and I see the infertility is kind of silence pandemic. It's some countries, like if you see Japan, already in China and Korea, India, they already started struggling, and it will be a big issue to finding the workforce for the future. That way, I really want to keep it and very motivated and dedicated. Even I'm with the Beez Biotech or somewhere else, I'm basically want to see the success rate of assisted reproductions in upcoming years. Like really, it has been saturated for a long time, but now it's time to really work on it and try to implement some new ideas and some new innovations to bring the solution that really making the difference. And it's high time that we work on this kind of actually upsurge the success rate of the assisted reproductions for the clinics. Yes, and they are our end user. The clinics also, the sperm bank can be our end user as well. But as I said, that we really want to be focused, and we really want to be our customer segments. They are defined, and in upcoming 3 to 4 year, and they providing also, it's like 3 billion is not a less market for us, so they also providing a big market. So I simply don't want to diverge because divergence brings the, especially in a health tech and biotech, if you are diverging, it requires also the some kind of cash. And that's simply when you are developing something very human centric, and you want to be, I really want to see a big social impact from the technology as well. So in that way we have chance, but I don't want to diverge a lot.
So do you see any scalability challenges coming up?
So actually, as I during the conversation, I think I already highlighted the fact that the scalability, in especially in health tech and biotech, it simply demand a lot of cash. So because these things, what we have developed, it will require, it is going, the outcomes of our solutions is going in a human body. So that's require the simply a very sophisticated industrial settings, and in that way we need quite significant, as I mentioned before, as quite significant cash to go to the market. And skill, this kind of, when we have the tractions, even we have the tractions from our clients, we they wrote the LOI in our favor. Now we are extending our testing in more clinics as well, where we doing the our productions in house. But that is not the, say that is not the final product, I would say, because that is still in a, we can say, the minimum viable product, that because we preparing the chips and everything's in house. So in that way, even we are going from increasing the, let's say, the number of the clinics that we are trying to test with them, because to have the better statistics on the data. So in that way, it's still the, let's say, a lot of issues, because even the preparing the disposable chips with the hand and microfluidic chips with the hand, all those things, it's quite significant workforce that we need to meet the needs of the client, I would say. So now it's a time has come that we really go out of the lab now. So where we were in lab like last 3 years, so we were working more on improvement of the technologies, trying to improvise the efficacy of the technology and all that. And now it's has time has come to go out of the lab and try to meet, enhance our network, try to meet the business people to bring the technology into the market. And thanks to Hello Tomorrow for recognizing us, that we have some potential solutions. And also the, I thank to Greby also that scouted us as a top 20 innovation. So thanks for that. So these things also help us to be in to be in the eye of the investors. And now we have been, let's say, a little bit under the radar, just because of we were in a phase of development of the technology. But now we are going out of the lab and try to let's say jump the whatever the barrier that go to the market.